The Ottoman Empire, a tale of conquest and corruption. The Ottoman Empire, which existed for 700 years, was a colossal empire that controlled large parts of North Africa, the Middle East, and Southeast Europe. Its origins can be traced back to nomadic Turkic tribes that settled in modern-day Turkey in the 11th century. By the 13th century, they became tributaries of the Mongols, which provided them with a solid economy to fund their military campaigns. They gradually conquered parts of western Anatolia and the Balkans, transforming from a tribe to a principality. As their territory expanded, they had to find new ways of governing, combining systems of government from neighboring cultures to form an efficient system. By the 15th century, the Ottomans had become so successful that they conquered the city of Constantinople and made it their new capital. They welcomed Jews and Christians into their lands, creating one of the most tolerant places to live on earth at the time. The empire was highly centralized, with the Sultan able to directly rule over most parts of his territory. This centralization was achieved through the Ottoman army, which consisted of professional soldiers called janissaries. Unlike feudal armies, the janissaries were trained from a young age and could be sent all over the empire to impose the Sultan's authority. After conquering vast territories, the Ottoman Empire's conquests gradually came to a halt. The elites, who gained power by governing newly conquered lands, began competing for influence in the Sultan's court. This infighting was encouraged by the Sultan and his Grand Vizier, who believed it would maintain short-term stability. However, the elites became less interested in the empire's stability as it no longer resulted in further conquests and more power for them. As a result, the sultans became highly dependent on the harem and lost direct contact with reality. This cycle of competent rulers being replaced by incompetent ones due to infighting led to periods of improvement followed by stagnation. While the Ottomans were confident in their superiority, Europe and Iran were making advancements. Europe centralized its governments, created professional armies, and developed new technologies. Improved shipbuilding allowed Europeans to bypass Ottoman-controlled trade routes and establish colonies across Asia, Africa, and the Americas. Meanwhile, Iran, facing a decrease in the spice trade due to Ottoman taxes, welcomed European spice traders and used the income to build its own professional army. By the 17th century, Europe and Iran had caught up to the Ottomans in terms of power. The Ottoman Empire's decline was a long and gradual process, marked by corruption, infighting, and the rise of more powerful rivals. While it once stood as an unstoppable force, it eventually became known as the sick man of Europe. The empire's conquests ceased, and the elites focused on gaining influence in the Sultan's court rather than governing effectively. The sultans became highly controlled by their mothers, wives, and the Janissary corps, leading to a lack of competent rulers. As Europe and Iran advanced, the Ottomans stagnated. Ultimately, the empire's downfall can be attributed to a combination of conquests coming to a halt, infighting among the elites, and the rise of more powerful and progressive nations.